Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for this discussion on co-working and all things flexible in the office market. I'm Paul Unger, publisher of Place Northwest. I'm delighted to be bringing this roundtable discussion to you in association with TP Bennett today. And we would ordinarily be hosting this in your building in Windmill Green in Manchester, Aurélien, but obviously we can't. So I wanted to start by asking you, how hard is it when planning a building like that at the moment to plan in the flex element?
We wanted to have an element of flexible working right from the get-go. So that means that you had to think about how the ground floor would work with a feature staircase leading to the first floor, then some amenities on the top floor, pavilion, roof terrace, some beehives on the roof, some gigantic green walls and push scooters, and there's a lot of things that went into forming this overall picture. And I think that's one thing which is important to bear in mind for this discussion, is that I don't think co-working, because that's what we're really here to talk about, I don't think co-working is the answer to anything. I think it's a means to get to an answer, an outcome.
I think the proof is in the pudding. I think what Aurélien said then about the space and the planning for space, it is a testament to the design. We've managed to put ourselves on the ground floor, the first floor and the second floor, and having multiple ways in, entries, having that flexibility, and more importantly now post-COVID, the division between spaces, so occupiers can control their own environments while still embracing full building amenity, is really, really good. Even before we've opened, we've had a huge amount of interest with Windmill Green, and we've already managed to do a lot of deals, which is testament to the building, the design, and the co-working model. I think co-working is here to stay. I think there's so many learnings that we've had over the last 5 years of the co-working offering. And I think now the sort of the phase two, the new wave of operators such as ourselves are learning from that, but creating a space with a partnership models with the likes of Aurélien to create a 5-class experience and co-creating a space so the amenity is really attractive to all parties.
What the beauty of co-working has done is it's shown businesses, whether you are a startup or whether you are a full established blue chip company, that there is an element for co-work to be able to help any business, whether you are then small or large. It gives flexibility. It now gives global presence. At the end of the day, I think a co-work works on all levels for all people because it has the best interests of the individuals.
How you actually start the concept of a building with the developer, although you're not necessarily focusing on trying to make it a co-working building from the outset, you really do need to think about the flexibility of the building in its own right to make sure it covers enough bases to make it appealing to every single part of the market. And although a tenant may not be coming to a building because it specifically has a co-working aspect in it, it is something that we are seeing more commonly being on a wish list or a desire list from tenants that we're working with that are looking for space in buildings.
So we've gone through 2020 and we are about to announce as a collective across the Manchester market the take-up figures, but it's going to be in excess of 800,000 square feet, which in context on a normal kind of last 5-year average trend is about 1.4 million. So not disastrous by a long stretch of imagination. In fact, the Q4 figures are in around about 350,000 square feet of city centre take-up, which is in line with a normal year.
Some prospective tenants were coming to us to say, well, we've seen that you're doing this together with Hana, and so it's very interesting for us. So can we have some terms for the upper floor, but can we have access to the facilities downstairs as well? And 50% of the building got let during 2020 between March and November. And I bet you'd struggle to find another building that would have achieved the same result because it was really hard to find and to meet prospective tenants' needs at that point. But Windmill Green was able to do that because of that collaboration.
I think in 3 years' time, potentially, I think you're going to see a whole new raft of tenants looking for space on a more probably the route that Aurelian's just described there, more of a hybrid approach, where they're saying we don't actually need as much space as a traditional let that we historically would do, but what we would like is traditional space in the same building as a co-working operator to enable us to have the flexibility of how much space we do have at any one time.
When we see markets dip, we see certainly an added interest in flexible space and people are downsizing. When we see markets surge, we see added flexible space to cover growth. So you can look at it absolutely both ways. But where we are now, in terms of the sentiment about flexibility that co-working and service office gives, I suppose it's now coming into its own.
But I think the one conversation that's constantly on the table is that we don't see the office disappearing. It will be an alternative version of itself. I think you're going to see the offering get bigger. I think you're going to see the facilities and that experience. I think that portfolio or that plethora is going to expand when you look at how the hospitality and the rental market and the housing market and how the approach has been done to that within cities around the country.
We really see the next 2 to 3 years as being super busy, and the flexible nature of our business means there isn't that normal sort of Hana in a box. Every single centre will be different, every single offering will be different.
What I will add is perhaps something slightly left field, but I'd be really interested in due course to see operations such as Tom's providing that type of customer service offering, but for the likes of some different uses such as education or healthcare, and bringing those elements into an office building.